Out of all the cases you saw and observed, what was the one that confused you the most and still confuses you, that you're just not sure what the heck? Is it the plasma ball? What was it that's something that struck you as particularly strange?
You know, the black triangles.
But seriously?
The black triangles, yeah. There were some reports from credible people where they saw something and they saw a flying vehicle, triangular in shape. Just good performance coming off it. Not a huge acoustic sound. Not a lot of heat picking up. They can pick off their flares. I want to know what it is because I think it's an adversary, capability. I think it comes from this world, not aliens. And when we got reports of the black triangles, that's something that really pricks my ears, and I want to know more.
With these black triangles, though, on your end, are you looking at them? Are you looking at photos, videos, or are you just reading a report?
All of the above.
Seriously?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Yeah, there are things that we, like I said, there's a small percentage of the cases that we have unusual, flight characteristics and performance or anomalies that we don't understand.
The first one was brought to us by a law enforcement officer out west, where he observed a large orange orb floating several hundred feet above the ground a couple miles away. He went to investigate what was going on with that orb. And as he was pulling up to the location where he thought would be below the orb, about 40 to 60 meters away from some object the area was well lit, he saw a blacker than black object. He said it was about the size of a Prius, 4 to 6 feet wide. And as he got 40 to 60 meters away from the object, it tilted up about 45 degrees, and then it shot up vertically. He says 10 to 100 times faster than any drone he's ever seen before. And it did that without making a sound, as far as he could tell from inside of his vehicle. And just as it left his field of view through his windshield, then it emitted very bright red and blue lights that illuminated the inside of his vehicle as brightly as if someone had set off fireworks just outside his vehicle or street flares. So that's anomalous because of the size of the vehicle with the great acceleration. And when he came back to investigate that area, he found no disturbance of the ground beneath it.
There was this one 30-year senior Navy officer that, he was going to work sober, no predisposition for fantasy, all that kind of stuff, because I interviewed the individual for a couple hours, and he saw this, crazy triangle hover over his car going to work at a certain naval facility, and it blew his mind. He was serious. The paint on his car turned milky white after the incident. So to me, that sounds like ionizing radiation. So ultraviolet, just like how your headlights get all foggy over time if you park your car out in the sun. Same phenomenon just happened, within 24-hour period. And I'm like, whoa. If this is true, and the oral testimony and, crazy radar data that I saw when I was on the task force, stuff making turns that didn't make any sense. Well, holy shit, what is this stuff then?
This anomaly with his paint, is this documented? Is this photographs? Or
Yes, I saw photographs. It was documented, yeah.
Black triangles are a type of UAP that has been reported for decades, from your ordinary civilians to your pilots and police officers. As seen here, Aero takes quite an interest in the black triangles, as they know it's part of their top 2 to 3% of anomalous sightings that have weird characteristics. This is how you know it's weird, as Aero is known for its debunking type of group, so it's interesting seeing them cover these type of reports. And as said by former acting director Tim Phillips, he's seen reports and videos that cover Black Triangle UAPs, not just eyewitness testimony. Now that is monumental, as in the public domain we only have a few videos regarding black triangles, which I will cover today. Some decent ones, but not a whole lot. Dr. Eric Davis has also said that there are a few that go underwater as well, in an interview recently, which is quite amazing. Now, I want to get started with civilian sightings with triangle UAPs, as they can actually provide us with videos of black triangles, as the military hasn't been able to do so because of the classification levels and such. There is one triangle UFO video by the military, but that turned out to be drones and stars, as the camera made the objects actually look like triangles. but I wanted to get started with this civilian video of a Black Triangle UAP in Shanghai, China, where a group of people on top of a tall building witnessed this UAP. This was recorded over 4 years ago by a Reddit user named Costco SIS. He even recorded the city he's in, probably to prove that it's not CGI or anything like that. This isn't even the only video of the event. There's another recording of another perspective, the same object in the sky. Now personally, I think this is a really mysterious video, and at the moment it has no explanation for this encounter, but there were people who were skeptical when this first came out. At least people in the comment sections thought it could be a shadow from the building since it's so high up, but in my opinion that theory doesn't hold up, as you can see the clouds going underneath the Black Triangle and it still being there. If it was a shadow, it wouldn't do that. I just wanted to show you guys a video so you guys get a taste of what's actually happening here. This is the recording.
太神奇了。
它那里面那一朵云好紫色。那个云现在全部都是红色的。哦，彩霞。嗯。有可能是灯光。就有点很难解释。
那边是右转，那个3.0右转的。老白，你问路上。哎，你看它这个彩霞。哦，我一看还是个彩虹的，这个云就吹过去的烟的。
对，整边的。
哎，还是灯摇。看到了，看到了。前面那个尖，
而且它是在云的上面了。你看云倒吹过去，对这个三角形都没影响，都对，云都是透的，就很清晰啊。
这就是那个
是不是外星人的飞机哦？
科幻片里边的一个飞船。
你有发言权吗？这个航空航天的从这个
我是皮毛，我只能听他们瞎说。
电解管的地方更高。
这是航空，我是航天。
我靠！
好吓人！对啊！
靠！这事情搞大了。我们真的人生尽兴。
好吓人！太吓人！
好清楚啊！越来越大。我去。
Now this next sighting of a triangle UAP is really interesting as well, as it recently happened this year. It was recorded on September 14th, 2025 around 10:35 p.m. in Astroya. The witness thinks he heard a sound like an electric car backing up in a lower tone, but the witness isn't really sure if it was actually coming from the object or not, but I think it's still interesting. He posted this to r/aliens on Reddit about 12 hours ago. Now this is really interesting as the triangle UAP has 3 lights in all 3 corners as most triangle UAPs do, but they aren't blinking like a normal aircraft, or in the case of a spy aircraft like from the military, there are lights on it, so that wouldn't make sense either. So in my opinion, this is a triangle UAP, and it just flies away into the clouds, and I think it's just really mysterious and I have no idea what this is. So here's the recording. Now, in my opinion, this encounter with a triangle UAP is really interesting. It happened over 11 months ago on a Wednesday, August 21st, 2024 at 10:30 p.m. This was posted to r/UFOs on Reddit. This description was from a secondhand source that gave the video to him as it was his friend that took it. He said, quote, "Red was the initial path, east to west. He was standing on the yellow dot, then he lost it in the clouds and saw it again at the green part. The triangle lights went from a triangle formation to a straight line, then stopped. Then the light went over the highway and started following the highway west, southwest," end quote. Also, the secondhand source said that his friend told him that it looked huge, but as the secondhand source has said, it's obviously a bit difficult to tell the exact size from the video itself. And honestly, I would agree, although it is a really good video in my opinion. And now personally, I think this is one of the most clear UAP triangles caught on video that seems the most legit in my opinion. No BS, no CGI or AI, no hoax, and no misidentification, although I could be wrong. The only possibility other than a UAP I can give is possibly an aircraft that is like top secret or whatever that we don't know about, but I honestly still don't think that's the case, as David Grush, part of the UAP task force, would have found the program and would have whistleblowed on it as well, at least to the ICIG and Arrow as well, but he hasn't. And honestly, with the lights, like, why would you have lights on a stealth aircraft? And even the lights don't match up with like what normal aircraft lights would look like in my opinion. So this is kind of an interesting sighting. So here's that video.
Dude, what the fuck? Look. Triangle light. Dude, that's a fucking UFO. Dude, what is that? It's a triangle.
Dude, that's a fucking UFO. Dude, what is that? It's a triangle.
This sighting is of a Black Triangle UAP shot back in 2008, which is why it's kinda not great footage, although for 2008 it's not bad. But two people in this car on a highway in England saw this weird object in the sky and decided to record it. This is a very interesting sighting as it seems to be rotating. This could mean a couple of things. That one possibility is that it's a balloon, because I think most balloons do this when it's kind of windy, and it was very cloudy that day, and that could have made it possible. Or it's a UAP. I'm torn at the moment, although I do think it's more likely for this object to be a balloon than all the other triangle UAPs so far. Here, take a look at the video and see for yourself.
Not even there.
Don't lie.
I'm not chatting shit with you.
You obviously got it in the wrong place.
No, it's not there. Is that it? What the fuck is that?
Everyone's looking at it. I think it maybe was advertising. Have you got it on there?
What the fuck is that?
Have you got it on there?
Yeah.
Maybe it might be like a satellite, or...
No.
Another very weird encounter with a triangle UAP with 3 lights on all corners. Recorded over 3 years ago and uploaded to the YouTube channel MR UFO Guy and seen in Guatemala City, January 22nd, 2022. This is probably the main sighting most people talk about when it comes to triangle UAP encounters, as it's so good and barely blurry even though it was shot at night. There are only a few explanations for this sighting in my opinion. Aircraft from our military, CGI, or a UAP. I don't think a balloon fits this sighting at all in my opinion just because of the lights and just the way it looks. But I think it's either CGI or a real UAP. I'm starting to lean more towards CGI here, but it's more 45-50 here than instead of 50-50, as the first few triangle sightings don't look like CGI at all, but this one is more of a coin toss. But anyways, here's the video. This video was uploaded around 6 years ago on a YouTube channel named Richard W. But he wasn't the only one who experienced this sighting in 2018 over the Pentagon. There are in fact 2 videos of the same object. It was uploaded to a few different channels, so I'm not really sure which is the original one, but either way it's still interesting. Although I do think it's most likely a reflection of the clouds and some light, mostly because it's right over the Pentagon, and there's no way that a UAP over the Pentagon would just be there without them flying jets over to take a look at it. And just the way the video looks as well, it does kind of look like that in my opinion. Anyways, here's the video so you can make your own opinions.
Oh man, what is this?
This is a fucking alien invasion.
You see it? Where is it? Give me the camera. What is this? I mean, what the fuck is that?
Laugh. Have you lost it? Look back! Look back!
I got you, baby. I see it. Turn right, turn right, turn right! You see it? Where is it?
Can it be like an ancient god? You know, you stupid little things. Slow down, man. Slow down. What? It's gone. I don't see it. Man, do you see it? I've heard something on the news, something about Russia, military.
No, it's not Russia. It's Pentagon.
I seen it already, man. It was a new stealth bomber. It was announced in the news. You know.
What's that ship? This alien spaceship, I tell you. Yes, I'm really sorry, but just because I was talking.
So this one is a bit interesting too, so I thought I'd cover it. In 2024, a triangle-shaped UFO was seen in the UK, appearing as 3 lights in the night sky, 1 red, 1 green, and 1 white. The witnesses stated that the lights gave it the appearance of a triangular craft, though it was a bit difficult to tell if it actually was a whole craft or was just the lights, because it was very dark. The witnesses suggested the lights could have matched plane wings and tail configuration, but found it strange that none of the lights were flashing, which is unusual for normal aircraft. Near the end, the witnesses thought it might actually be a drone, possibly a surveillance or reconnaissance type, but wasn't sure. And I'm gonna add that this was around the time of the New Jersey drone sightings and the UK sightings of drones as well, so I think it's very possible that this triangular shaped craft could be a drone of some kind that's part of the military or whatnot. I think that is definitely a pretty good possibility. But I would say it's unidentified for right now, so I'm calling it a UFO.
Lights do give it the appearance like it's a triangle, but okay, so now it looks like a more like a green light, the bottom one, but it could be that the red and the green one might be the main wing and the white one might be the tail of like a standard plane configuration potentially, but there's not really any way of telling because it's so dark. But the weird thing for me is that there's no flashing lights on it at all. Now, the red and the green lights could potentially be the end of the wings, and then the white one on the tail. But it's weird that it's like that because it gives it a triangle a look to it. But nothing's flashing on it at all. Yeah. It's just too dark. You just can't make it out. Like any little shape is. Definite drone of props, isn't it? So whether it's some sort of surveillance drone or just a plane keeping an eye on things, just don't know.
Another case I really wanted to discuss here is the Belgium UFO Wave. Now this is a very eerie UAP case in my opinion. It began in the fall of 1989 and continued through much of 1990, with hundreds of witnesses across Belgium reporting the same thing. Large, silent, triangular-shaped objects in the night sky. What made the case especially interesting was that it wasn't just random people seeing these things. Police officers, air traffic controllers, military radar operators, and even fighter jet pilots were all involved. The events lasted for months and were investigated seriously by both the Belgian Air Force and Civilian UFO Research Group, making it one of the most organized UFO studies ever researched. And honestly, this is one of the few cases where I really think it should have been. The first major sighting took place on the night of November 29th, 1989, near the towns of Eupen and Lages in eastern Belgium. Sorry if I mispronounce those, I'm not really sure how to say them. But anyways, let's move on. That evening, two police officers on patrol noticed something unusual hovering silently above a field. It was a large black triangle with three bright white lights at its corners and a smaller red light pulsing in the center. The craft moved slowly and silently, unlike any helicopter or airplane they knew. Also, tricopters weren't invented back then, so it could have been that either. So the officers radioed what they saw, and soon other people in nearby towns reported the same object. In total, dozens of witnesses described seeing a similar triangular craft moving across the night sky. The sightings didn't stop there though. Over the next few weeks, reports poured in from all over Belgium. People described the same kind of object. A dark, massive, and triangular with bright lights on each corners underneath that didn't blink like airplane lights. Some said the craft hovered motionless, then suddenly shot off at a high speed without making a sound. A few even said it followed cars or hovered over rooftops, moving slowly and steadily before disappearing into the distance. The sightings were so consistent and widespread that the Belgian Air Force decided to take them seriously, and there were even one or two videos and photos. The Air Force began working with SOBEPS, otherwise known as the Belgian Society for the Study of Space Phenomena, a civilian UFO research organization. Together, they collected witness testimonies, radar data, and flight records to find out if the sightings could be explained. They checked for possible secret military tests, foreign aircraft, or other logical explanations, but found none. No country admitted to flying experimental planes over Belgium at that time either, and the triangle-shaped craft didn't match any known aircraft design, at least at that time. The most interesting part of the wave happened on March 30th, 1990, when the Belgium Air Force scrambled two F-16 fighter jets after multiple radar stations detected strange targets in the sky. The radar data showed something that appeared to be flying erratically, dropping several thousands of feet in seconds, then climbing rapidly again. The jets chased the object several times, but the pilots never actually saw it with their own eyes. The radar logs were also inconsistent, appearing and disappearing in strange patterns. Later, some experts said that atmospheric conditions might have caused radar interference, but others believe the readings showed something real and unexplained. It's really unknown what actually happened with the radar. The same night, people on the ground also saw bright lights in the sky. Witnesses described them moving quickly and silently, matching the time the jets were pursuing the radar contacts. These reports added the weight to the idea that something physical was actually there, even if the pilots couldn't see it directly. By this point, the Belgian UFO wave had become front-page news around the world. TV station broadcasts, interviews with witnesses, and newspapers printed sketches of the triangular craft. The story spread across Europe. The government even released official reports and radar data to the public, showing that they had actually had nothing to hide, which hasn't been the case recently. Among all the evidence, including videos, photos, and alleged radar data, one of the most famous pieces was a photograph taken in April of 1990. The picture showed a black triangle with 3 bright white lights underneath it. It seemed to confirm what so many people had described for months. Around the same time, it was at least one short video was captured by a witness, showing similar lights moving slowly in a triangular formation, supposedly looking like an actual craft. These images are definitely iconic to the Belgium UFO wave. However, years later in 2011, the man who took the famous photograph came forward and claimed that it was a hoax and he made it all up. He said that he had made the UFO out of a piece of painted styrofoam with small lights attached and had hung it from a string to take the picture. His confession disappointed a lot of people, but even after he confessed, many people pointed out that his fake photo didn't explain the hundreds of other reports, radar data, and other witness accounts from trained observers, like pilots. Then, later on, the same photographer reported he changed his story again years later, this time in the 2020s. He later claimed on Twitter that he had been pressured and even paid a large amount of money to say that the photo was fake and that he created it. According to his later statement, he had been told to confess to making it up so the whole case could be dismissed more easily. Whether or not this is officially true remains unclear, but this is his position. But honestly, the UFO wave is honestly one of the most interesting UFO cases. So we honestly have no idea what this object is. Maybe it was a high-tech aircraft that we don't know about, but I think that's highly unlikely. I mean, I will cover something like that in this video. I think we all know what I'm talking about here, but I just wanted to say I think it's probably of non-human intelligence, an actual UAP, unidentified anomalous phenomena. Now, this encounter is a really interesting one and really mysterious one that I want to cover as well, just because it's one of the most talked about UFO events in history, as many people saw it. There's many videos, and honestly, a little sketchy stuff going on with the military later on, because there were actually 2 sightings with this event. There was a first sighting earlier on and one later on, and I want to cover that in this encounter right here in this video, because I think they're 2 different things. I think one is a craft and one is flares. I just think it's really interesting, so I'm just going to dive right into it. The first major sighting of the Phoenix Lights began around 8 p.m. when people in Nevada and northern Arizona started reporting a formation of bright lights moving slowly toward the southeast. As the phenomena approached Phoenix, thousands of residents stepped outside to see what looked like a UAP. Witnesses described 5 distinct lights arranged in a massive V-shape, gliding silently across the sky. Many said it appeared to be a single, solid object with lights fixed behind it as it passed overhead. It wasn't speeding or maneuvering like an airplane, it drifted steadily and very silently across the sky. People watching from different cities and towns all described the same thing. A huge, dark craft with soft, amber or white lights that gave no sound at all. Some estimated that it was as large as several football fields across. Witnesses reported that it flew low enough to actually see its sides, yet it produced no engine noise or turbulence. Others claim that the lights seemed to dim or brighten silently as if they were part of one continuous structure, not individual planes or flares. The craft reportedly moved from Prescott and Dewey, passing over Phoenix and heading toward Tucson. Despite the massive number of witnesses, only one clear video of the first event exists. The footage taken by a local resident shows faint lights arranged in a V-shaped formation in 5 lights moving together in the dark sky. While the quality isn't perfect, the movement of the lights appears smooth and consistent, supporting the idea of a single, large object, and they don't disappear either like flares. Over the years, this lack of multiple videos has definitely confused a lot of researchers. Some people have suggested that people were simply too stunned to grab their cameras or something like that. And that is a very huge possibility, because honestly, if you see something like that you've never seen in your life, you just want to look at it to see what it's actually like. Most people don't get to actually see this. It is honestly breathtaking once you get to see it. So you might not have a chance to actually pull out your camera. Later that night, around 10 p.m., a second and very different display of lights appeared in the sky, this time directly over Phoenix. These lights formed a curved line that hovered over for several minutes before fading away one by one. Unlike the earlier formation, this second set of lights was captured by many residents on camcorders from various parts of the city and other cameras, of course. The videos showed a row of glowing orbs hovering motionless in the distance. To the naked eye, they appeared bright and symmetrical, almost as if they were suspended in the air. News stations across Arizona soon began replaying the footage. And this second event quickly became what most people associate with the quote, Phoenix Lights, end quote. However, investigations into the second sighting led to more conventional explanation, at least in my opinion, of course. The US military eventually stated that these lights were illumination flares dropped during a training exercise at the Barry Goldwater Range, southwest of Phoenix. The timing of the military operations definitely matched the sighting, and video analysis, in my opinion, appear to show that the lights gradually sank between the Sierra Mountains and flickering out as they descended, which correlates to flares. This behavior was consistent with flares burning out over time. But a lot of people still aren't convinced because these two videos honestly kind of confuse each other. A lot of people don't even know that the first video exists, and a lot of people still think the second video is what a lot of people saw that night was actually a craft hovering. I believe the second set of lights are flares, and the first set of lights were actually a craft moving slowly and were hovering, and those lights don't blink out like the other ones, and you can't see a blinking light in the distance like the other ones as well. And honestly, to this day, the Phoenix Lights remain one of the most discussed and credible UFO cases ever documented, same as the Belgium UFO Wave. The first sighting, involving a vast and silent craft in my opinion, stands apart from the later flare explanation for the second sighting. It involved hundreds of witnesses across multiple towns, including police officers, pilots, and ordinary citizens, all describing the same massive triangular formation gliding overhead, and even confirms what we see in the video, at least in the first sighting. And honestly, for those who saw it, there is no mistaking it, its scale, or the sense that it was actually something far beyond ordinary technology. It was definitely a craft of unknown origin. Now, the second sighting, yes, I do believe it to be flares, as you can see in the very distance, like a little light blinking right above it, a little bit over. I believe that to be the aircraft that is dropping these flares for a test or something, either a test or to confuse the people of what the actual sightings were. The Air Force or any of these investigations never actually really commented on the first sightings, which is pretty interesting, I do have to say, because there is video of the first sighting. And that is way more strange than the second one. Here is the video, just so you can actually see what was going on with the first sighting.
You see it? I don't know what it is yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There is also one sighting I do want to cover here as well, and it's a case from Project Blue Book, as they call it unidentified, which is really interesting to me in my opinion. I'm pretty sure it's called Operation Mainbrace UFO Sightings. So to get started, on the morning of July 24th, 1952, two experienced U.S. Air Force pilots, Lieutenant Colonel John McGinn and Lieutenant Colonel John Barton, were flying a B-2 bomber on a clear day over Carson Sink, Nevada. Both men were great flyers and instructors at the Air War College. Around 11 a.m., they spotted three large delta or triangular-shaped objects approaching them from the west at high altitude. The objects appeared to be flying in perfect formation and moving at incredible speeds, faster than any known aircraft at the time. As the objects got closer, the pilots noticed that they were silver in color and had sharply defined edges that gave them a distinct triangular or delta wing appearance. The crafts had no visible tails, or visible propulsion, or any cockpits, just a smooth metallic surface. The pilots estimated the size to be roughly that of a B-36 bomber, which was one of the largest aircraft in service back then. The formation passed in front of their plane at an estimated altitude of 400 feet above them before banking in unison and acceleration upward into the sky until they disappeared from view. The entire sighting lasted less than a minute. Both men were stunned by what they had seen. After landing, McGinn and Barton immediately reported the incident to the Air Force. Project Blue Book then investigated the case but could not identify any known aircraft matching the description in that region at the time. The Air Force initially speculated that the pilots might have seen a new jet aircraft from a nearby base, but no test flights were scheduled, and the design didn't match any known prototypes. Because both witnesses were high-ranking officers with impeccable records, their sightings were taken seriously. The official Blue Book report listed the case as, quote, unidentified, end quote. To this day, the Carson Sink incident remains one of the most credible and mysterious triangle UFO encounters recorded in Project Blue Book, at least that I can see. That is one I really wanted to cover, just because Project Blue Book, a lot of people say, is a lot more skeptical, and honestly, the more I look at Project Blue Book, I would kind of disagree. Yes, they are a little bit skeptical, but I would say they're open-minded. They do have a lot of unidentified cases, such as the 1952 Washington, D.C. flap. They named that as unidentified, which is quite amazing. Now, this is an interesting photo I wanted to cover because it was captured by NASA during an SES mission, and UFOs I've been seeing during SES missions before, but this one's a little different because it's a full-on triangle that was captured on one of these SES missions, whereas before there was multiple orbs seen on these SES missions making weird turns and whatever, but this is a full-on triangle. Now, in 1986, during NASA's space shuttle mission SES-61C aboard Columbia, the crew captured something strange on camera while in orbit. As they filmed parts of their mission, a strange object was shown in the footage. A clear, black triangle-shaped object moving slowly in space. The shape didn't look like the usual pieces of ice or space debris that astronauts often see floating nearby, at least in my opinion. Instead, it looked like an exact triangle, which is really weird. NASA later explained the object as likely being some kind of space debris, possibly a piece of insulation or a small panel from the shuttle itself. Space debris often reflects light in strange ways and can appear to have different shapes depending on the angle of the camera and sunlight. However, what makes this object strange is how anomalous the shape looked. Not a blob or of an uneven piece, kind of like the Black Knight satellite, which was confirmed to be space debris as well, although I do think that is space debris. But this was like a full-on triangle, almost perfect triangle. Now that sort of clean shape normally doesn't happen. Like I said, for the Black Knight satellite, that is like all over the place. That actually looked like a space blanket or like space debris or whatever. But this is a full-on triangle. It is really weird. I also wanted to include this one as it seems like astronauts have been seeing UAPs in space for a long time now. There was even an astronaut who saw a space-like object, I guess, in space, or transient or something, I don't even know what to call it. Just an unidentified object in space that looked like a snake. And there's also orbs in space as well, and just weird unidentified anomalous phenomena in space. But that's why they're called UAPs. We don't know what they are, and they're anomalous, doing weird maneuvers and whatnot. But the fact that trained astronauts are seeing this kind of thing makes you think even more. And also the fact that we have new peer-reviewed papers about transients, also known as UAPs in space, by Dr. Beatriz Valora and others showing that there's something to this, whatever they are. And it hasn't been debunked as well, at least for this new paper. I just thought I should share this as well because it's a weird anomalous triangle and it's a pretty clear photo as well. Gotta give them props for that.
I'm going to say it again to be very clear. Immaculate Constellation. What's its mission and how are they funded?
Its mission is to, as I stated, its mission is to, it's an unacknowledged special access program. Its mission is to document UAPs.
Okay, and do you, for your story and your report, do you have more than one credible source?
I do.
Sourcing, okay.
Now, I couldn't have gone into this video without discussing ARVs, otherwise known as alien reproduction vehicles. ARVs have been a topic within the UFO community for a while now, mostly associated with triangle UAPs, mostly due to some documents and a certain program, also associated with flying discs courtesy of Mark McCandlish and Brad Sorensen, and more recently Tic Tac UAPs due to some documents and an anonymous whistleblower. Now, I would like to discuss Immaculate Constellation first, as it was put into the congressional record in 2024 when Nancy Mace held the UAP hearing with Lou Elizondo, Tim Gallaudet, Mike Gold, and Michael Schellenberger. Michael Schellenberger is important here, as he is the one who testified under oath about the Immaculate Constellation program given to him by Mathew Brown when he came forward in an interview with Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. This program is said to be the successor to the OSUP ATIF organizations led by James Lukatsky, Jay Stratton, and Lou Elizondo, and this was supposedly right after Lou Elizondo quit in 2017, although the dates are a little complicated. Mathew Brown has stated to the public that this program is an unacknowledged special access program, also known as USAPs, or USAP. This is supposedly a program not reported to Congress, without congressional oversight, as said during the 2024 hearing, under oath, as well as in the interview with Jeremy Corbell by its author Mathew Brown.
So the next slide, the third slide about, just jumps straight into the mission of the SAP and showing what apparently the results of that mission are. And it's a collection incident in the Pacific Ocean. The subject of collection is several Russian naval intelligence vessels in the middle of the ocean at night. And above those vessels is a large black triangle floating in the air. This is a still image, but it is color. Intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance mission of a global nature for UAPs and RVs, ARVs. The hesitation there is some time has passed. One of those acronyms is in there, either RV or ARV, and that is how the triangle, in this case, was labeled.
RV is, reverse
reproduction
vehicle.
Yeah.
And the ARV would mean anomalous reproduction.
We see, people in the literature say alien reproduction vehicle. It could just be anomalous
advanced
vehicle or advanced. It could be anything that can go after A.
The TR3B, also called the Astra or Black Manta, is a mysterious aircraft described in various leaked documents and online discussions as a top-secret project run by the US military. These papers, which have surfaced on sites such as the Internet Archive and military forums, claim it's part of a hidden program known as Aurora, funded through black budgets that aren't public. The story goes is that the TR3B was developed in the 1990s using advanced technology, possibly reverse engineered from captured non-human spacecraft or UAPs. While the government has never officially confirmed its existence, many point to patents, eyewitness reports of triangles, and declassified files as evidence. Some documents suggest it was built by companies, such as Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works, blending human engineering with exotic ideas to create spy planes similar to a non-human spacecraft. In terms of its look, the TR3B is shaped like a large black triangle, often compared to a flying wedge or boomerang. Descriptions from alleged documents say it's huge, up to 600 feet across from tip to tip, and can carry a crew of a few people plus advanced sensors for reconnaissance missions. The outer skin is made of a special material that absorbs radar waves, making it nearly invisible to detection systems. It can also change its appearance, coating that bends light or mimics the sky, which helps it blend in during flights. At the three corners, there are powerful thrusters that allow it to take off vertically like a helicopter, hover silently, or accelerate to incredible speeds, rumored to be Mach 9 or faster. The design isn't just for show either. The triangle shape helps with the stability and reduces drag when zipping through the atmosphere or even into space for short trips. Powering this craft is compact nuclear reactor at its center, according to the documents. This reactor uses nuclear energy to heat and accelerate mercury into a super hot plasma state. The plasma then generates thrust through electromagnetic fields, pushing the TR3B forward without traditional jet engines that make loud noises or leave heat trails. It has different models for flying, one for slow, quiet operations like spying or enemy territory, and another for high-speed dashes across continents, or even through space. Some reports mention it could reach altitudes over 120,000 feet, way above commercial airplane levels, and even operate in near-space environments, kind of like what the Tic Tac did. Although I don't believe the Tic Tac is of Lockheed Martin technology. I believe that is not human, and the triangle may or may not be ours. I'm still not sure yet. This honestly makes it very efficient and pretty stealthy, perfect for missions where you don't want to be seen or heard, especially over military bases like Langley, like the sighting that Dylan Borland had. And he even testified to under oath during Congress this year, which is a pretty extraordinary sighting, I do have to say myself. Some of the most interesting parts of this craft is the anti-gravity system, known as a magnetic field disruptor or MFD. In simple terms, this works by spinning the hot mercury plasma at incredible high speeds inside a circular accelerator ring around the craft's middle, allegedly of course. This spinning creates a powerful magnetic field that interferes with Earth's gravity pull on the vehicle. The documents claim it can reduce the effective gravity about 89%, meaning the TR3B feels much lighter, as if most of its weight is cancelled out. It's not true anti-gravity that repels the ground like in sci-fi movies, but instead, it's more like warping the space around the ship to weaken the gravity's grip. This lets it lift off easily, making sharp turns at high speeds without stressing the structure, and even float motionless in the air. This is honestly pretty amazing stuff. Honestly, I have no idea if we even have TR3Bs, if they are ours, or even non-human technology. I do believe it is probably non-human technology, if I were to guess, out of all the anomalous cases out there with triangles, and even the cases that the new Aero director has talked about on Neil deGrasse Tyson's podcast, and when he testified to the Senate about these triangle sightings as well. It is quite fascinating, but I believe David Grush, Jay Stratton, Dr. Eric Davis, even James Lukatsky or Lou Elizondo, even Kirkpatrick or the new Air director, they would have found something about these TR3Bs. At least David Grush or Dr. Eric Davis, because they at least say non-human technology exists and we have it. But none of them have ever said that they have found a TR3B-like craft or alien reproduction vehicle-like object. The only thing that comes close is Mathew Brown's report on Immaculate Constellation, with the type of craft such as the TR3B that was hovering over the Russian ships. But this was the video, so honestly, yeah. My overall thoughts for the Black Triangle UAPs is that I think they are real, it's just that I'm not really sure what they are, and so in my opinion they're a UFO, unidentified flying object. And I do believe they have transmedium capabilities where they can go underwater. Dr. Eric Davis has said that, and Tim Phillips almost slipped up and almost said they could go underwater and everything. But there are some interesting videos in my video right here actually that I could say almost for certain that these are actually real craft. Are they actually ours that were reverse engineered from non-human technology? I'm not really sure. Or are they just non-human intelligence or some other thing? I'm not really sure, but I do believe they are real. So that is my final thoughts, and that was Anomaly Files. Peace out.